In the bustling city of Lagos, Nigeria, there was a small car repair shop run by a man named Robert. Robert was known for his quick fixes and charming smile, but not everyone knew about his shady side. One hot afternoon, a young woman named Adaeze drove her old, dusty car into Robert's shop. Adaeze was a hardworking teacher who had saved up for months to get her car fixed. She needed it to travel to the village where she taught children. "Good afternoon, sir," Adaeze greeted as she stepped out of her car. Robert glanced at her car and saw an opportunity. He quickly put on his most trustworthy smile. "Good afternoon, madam. What seems to be the problem?" "My car has been making strange noises, and it's been hard to start in the mornings," Adaeze explained. Robert nodded, pretending to be deeply concerned. "Don't worry, I will take a look. Please, have a seat inside while I check it out." As Adaeze waited, Robert tinkered with her car, pretending to find serious issues. After a while, he walked back to her, wiping his hands with a rag. "Madam, your car has many problems," he said, shaking his head. "The engine is almost gone, the brakes are failing, and the radiator needs to be replaced. It's going to cost you a lot to fix everything." Adaeze's heart sank. "How much will it cost?" she asked, worried. Robert scratched his head, pretending to think hard. "It will be around 150,000 naira, Adaeze gasped. She didn't have that kind of money. "Isn't there anything you can do to make it cheaper?" she pleaded. Robert saw her desperation and decided to push his luck. "Well, I can try to use some second-hand parts. It might bring the cost down to 100,000 naira, but it's a big risk." Adaeze thought about it. She needed the car, but she also needed to be careful with her money. "Okay, let's do that," she agreed reluctantly. Robert smiled, thinking about the easy money he was about to make. But what he didn't know was that Adaeze had a friend named Uche, who was also a mechanic. She decided to give Uche a call to get a second opinion. "Hi, Uche. I'm at a mechanic's shop, and they're saying my car needs a lot of expensive repairs. Can you come and take a look?" Adaeze asked over the phone. Uche agreed to come right away. When he arrived, he went straight to Adaeze's car and inspected it thoroughly. Robert watched nervously, realizing that Uche knew what he was doing. After a while, Uche stood up and turned to Adaeze. "Your car doesn't have any major problems. It just needs a minor tune-up and maybe some new spark plugs. It shouldn't cost more than 20,000 naira." Adaeze's eyes widened in surprise and relief. She turned to Robert, her expression now stern. "Why did you try to scam me?" she demanded. Robert stammered. I thought it was worse than it actually is." Uche stepped forward, his voice firm. "You should be ashamed of yourself, Robert. Taking advantage of people is not the way to run a business." Robert hung his head, feeling the weight of his actions. "I'm sorry," he muttered, but the damage was done. His reputation in the community would be forever tarnished. Adaeze thanked Uche for his help and drove away, grateful to have avoided a costly mistake. As she left, Robert watched her go, regretting his greed and thinking about how he could turn his life around. Robert stood there for a long time, pondering his next steps. He realized he needed to change his ways if he wanted to build a good life and reputation. A few days later, Adaeze was driving to her school in the village. She couldn't shake off the incident with Robert. As she drove, an idea struck her. She decided to turn it into a lesson for her students about honesty and integrity. When she arrived at the school, the children greeted her with their usual enthusiasm. "Good morning, Miss Adaeze," they chorused. "Good morning, children," Adaeze replied, smiling warmly. "Today, I have a special story to share with you all." The children gathered around, their eyes wide with anticipation. Adaeze began telling them about her encounter with Robert and how Uche helped her. She emphasized the importance of being honest and treating others with respect. One of her students, a bright boy named Kalechi, raised his hand. "Miss Adaeze, why do some people lie and try to cheat others?" he asked. Adaeze thought for a moment before replying. "Sometimes people make bad choices because they think it will benefit them in the short term. But in the end, those choices often lead to regret and trouble. It's always better to be honest and do the right thing, even if it's difficult." The children nodded, understanding the lesson. Adaeze felt a sense of fulfillment, knowing she had turned a negative experience into a positive one for her students. Meanwhile, back in Lagos, Robert was determined to make amends. He decided to reach out to Uche and ask for his help to improve his skills and business practices. Swallowing his pride, he visited Uche's workshop. "Uche, I need your help," Robert said sincerely. "I want to change and become a better mechanic. Can you teach me?" Uche looked at Robert, surprised by his humility. "All right, Robert. But remember, this is not just about fixing cars. It's about building trust and doing the right thing." Robert nodded eagerly. "I understand. I'm ready to learn." From that day on, Robert worked hard under Uche's guidance. He learned not only about cars, but also about honesty, integrity, and customer service. Slowly but surely, his reputation began to improve. Customers started to trust him again, and his business grew. One day, Adaeze's car broke down again, this time near Robert's workshop. She hesitated, wondering if she should trust him. Remembering his apology and Uche's influence, she decided to give him another chance. "Hello, Robert," Adaeze greeted as she walked into the workshop. Robert looked up, recognizing her instantly. "Miss Adaeze, it's good to see you. What brings you here?" "My car broke down again. Can you take a look?" she asked. Robert nodded and inspected the car carefully. This time, he diagnosed the problem accurately and quoted a fair price. Adaeze watched him closely, sensing a genuine change in his demeanor. When the repair was done, Robert handed her the keys. "Your car is fixed, Miss Adaeze, and I promise, no more tricks." Adaeze smiled, feeling hopeful. "Thank you, Robert. I'm glad to see you're doing better." As she drove away, Adaeze felt a sense of satisfaction. She knew that sometimes people could change for the better. And in the heart of Lagos, a small workshop stood as a testament to the power of honesty and the possibility of redemption. A few weeks passed, and Adaeze continued to notice positive changes in Robert. Word had spread about his transformation, and more people started bringing their cars to his workshop. He was no longer the cunning mechanic looking for a quick buck. He had become a trusted member of the community. One Saturday morning, a young man named Emeka drove his shiny new car into Robert's workshop. Emeka was well known in the area for his success in the tech industry and his generosity. He had heard about Robert's turnaround and wanted to see it for himself. "Good morning," Emeka greeted as he stepped out of his car. "Good morning, sir," Robert replied, feeling a bit nervous. Emeka was an influential figure, and this could be a significant opportunity for him. "How can I help you today? My car has been acting up lately. I think it might be something with the engine," Emeka explained. Robert nodded and got to work. As he examined the car, He realized it was a minor issue that could be fixed quickly. He decided to be transparent with Emeka about the problem. "Sir, it looks like it's just a loose spark plug. I can fix it in a few minutes," Robert said. Emeka watched as Robert efficiently repaired the car. "Thank you for being honest," Emeka said, impressed by Robert's professionalism. "It's my pleasure, sir. I'm committed to doing honest work now," Robert replied sincerely. Emeka smiled. "That's good to hear. Honesty is a rare but valuable trait. Keep it up, and you'll go far." After Emeka left, Robert felt a renewed sense of purpose. His workshop was thriving, and he had gained the respect of his community. He knew he owed much of his success to Uche's guidance and Adaeze's second chance. One evening, as Robert was closing up his workshop, Adaeze stopped by with a small gift, a beautifully wrapped box of local snacks. "Robert, I wanted to thank you for your honesty and hard work," she said, handing him the gift. "You've come a long way, and I'm proud of you." Robert was touched. "Thank you, Miss Adaeze. Your trust and kindness helped me change. I appreciate this more than you know." Adaeze smiled warmly. "It's never too late to turn over a new leaf, Robert. Keep being the best version of yourself." As Adaeze walked away, Robert looked at the gift, feeling a deep sense of gratitude. He realized that redemption was not just about making up for past mistakes, but also about building a future based on trust and integrity. Months passed, and Robert's workshop continued to grow. He even started mentoring young aspiring mechanics, teaching them not only about cars, but also about the importance of honesty and hard work. One day, Adaeze's school held a community event to celebrate local heroes. To her surprise, Robert was one of the honorees. The children cheered as he walked up to receive his award, and Adaeze felt a swell of pride. As Robert accepted his award, he spoke to the crowd. "I used to make mistakes and take the wrong path, but thanks to people like Uche and Miss Adaeze, I learned that it's never too late to change. I hope to inspire others to choose honesty and integrity in everything they do." The audience applauded, and Robert felt a sense of fulfillment he had never known before. His journey from a deceitful mechanic to a respected community member was complete, but he knew it was just the beginning of a lifetime of doing the right thing. As the sun set over Lagos, Robert looked out at the smiling faces in the crowd, knowing that he had found his true calling. His workshop had become more than just a place to fix cars. It was a beacon of hope and a testament to the power of second chances. Months turned into years, and Robert's reputation continued to grow. His workshop became a hub of activity, not just for car repairs, but for community gatherings and mentorship programs. He employed young apprentices, giving them the opportunity to learn a trade and the values of honesty and integrity. Adaeze, now a respected headmistress at her school, frequently collaborated with Robert on community projects. They organized workshops and seminars for the youth, teaching them essential life skills and the importance of making ethical choices. One day, while visiting the workshop, Adaeze noticed a familiar face among the apprentices. It was Kelechi, the bright student who had asked about honesty years ago. "Miss Adaeze," Kelechi called out, running over to her. "Look, I'm learning to be a mechanic just like Robert." Adaeze smiled, proud of the young man. "That's wonderful, Kelechi. You're in good hands here." Robert walked over, hearing the conversation. "Kelechi is one of my best apprentices. He's got a natural talent for fixing things, and he's as honest as they come." Kelechi beamed with pride. "I learned from the best," he said, glancing at both Adaeze and Robert. One evening, after a long day of work, Robert and Adaeze sat outside the workshop, watching the sunset. They reflected on how far they had come and the positive impact they had made in their community. "Remember that day you brought your car in?" Robert asked, a hint of nostalgia in his voice. Adaeze laughed. "How could I forget? It was the start of something incredible." Robert nodded, feeling a deep sense of gratitude. "You've been a guiding light for me, Adaeze. I don't know where I'd be without your help and forgiveness." "You found the strength to change, Robert. You made the choice to be better," Adaeze replied. "And now, look at all the lives you've touched." As they watched the sun dip below the horizon, they knew their journey had been one of transformation, forgiveness, and growth. Robert's workshop continued to thrive, not just as a place for car repairs, but as a symbol of hope and second chances. Years later, Robert retired, leaving the workshop in the capable hands of Kelechi, who had grown into a skilled and respected mechanic. The community continued to remember Robert's story, passing it down as a lesson in honesty, integrity, and the power of redemption. And so, in the heart of Lagos, the legacy of Robert's workshop lived on, a beacon of hope and a testament to the belief that it's never too late to turn over a new leaf and make a positive impact on the world.